I just waiting a little bit for more people.
Hi.
Hey. Hey, what's up?
I'm good. How are you?
I am fine. I am just waiting for a few more people to come in and then we will start officially.
Good.
It has been a gloomy, windy, rainy day here.
Same here. And I can hear the wind. I just hope no one else can hear it.
I can hear it and see it. I hope they're not hearing it. Are you guys hearing? I hope not. That didn't help the mental health today.
But I have my happy light facing this way. That's why I have so much light, because I was like, it's so gloomy out.
Yeah, I have a light in front of me too.
Good.
All right. So, good evening, everyone. I am so happy you're able to join us this evening. I'm sure you saw the flyer. So, this evening we are talking about our mental health during the pandemic. Some of you might be wondering, what does this have to do with Spike? But it has everything to do with Spike, because we are all human beings and we're all going through it, and most of us are employed or we have employers, and we need to know how to manage this part of our lives, or this phase of our lives, well, right now. I know that we have some new people on the live today. I see some handles that I don't recognize. So it is prudent to tell you about Spike a little bit. So Spike provides customer experience consultation to businesses. We help you to improve your operations so that you attract and retain happy clients so that you will grow. So that's a little bit about us. We do it in a lot of different ways. We have a few service offerings. If you look on our website, it's www.getthespike.com. You'll see a whole menu of items. Hey, Rashawn. We also have a webinar going right now about customer service on social media. So check it out and join our mailing list, because something is coming up next week. Join the mailing list. Oh, I just want to tell you guys about what we have done in terms of the response to COVID-19. We have partnered with the Crystal Care Foundation. Crystal is in the chat right now too. The foundation has really been doing a lot to try to help persons who are really pressed by the situation we face, so providing supplies as much as possible. And the foundation caters to the western part of Jamaica, really focusing on Montego Bay and St. James right now, because movement is limited, so we have to be safe in all that we do anyway. So yeah, that's all the announcements for right now. And here we have Miss Brittany Rhoden. I hope you guys read the caption. I know sometimes the captions are long, but they're giving you good information, so I hope you read them. Rashawn saying don't see you 5 years, no. So I will allow Brittany to introduce herself, because I have introduced her on the page. So Brittany, tell us a little bit about you.
Well, first, thanks for having me, for inviting the GetTheSpike live. So I am a higher education administrator, specifically a resident director. So this means that I work in higher ed at Hofstra University in Long Island. My role is primarily to manage the residence halls, 2 of them on campus, to supervise student leaders and kind of navigate student issues, whether with the building and the facilities, or how they navigate having tough conversations with roommates, how they're navigating their college experience and their residence life experience. In addition to that, I'm a clinical psychology associate, so I have training in mental health. My master's is in clinical psych, and I'm currently working on my second master's in higher education and leadership policy. So that's a little bit about me. There's more in the caption in the post, so if you want to know more.
Oh, I should mention to you all, after we have finished this live, I invite you to check out her page. It's Rose Gold and Gray. I think the content that will be there soon will really help us to continue on this journey, because it is a journey. It's not something that is just fixed permanently. So I invite you to check it out. All right. So our favorite first question. And you guys, you will see the connection, okay? I would like to find out from you, why does the customer experience matter to you? And if you think the services we offer are necessary, and why?
Okay. So customer service matters to me because I provide a service to students through my role. So it's important to ensure that the service that I'm providing is good, because that students feel comfortable coming to me and comfortable living on campus. And so that helps with student retention for residents. Spike services are necessary to enhance the experience that a customer has, as well as empower and appreciate the work that staff does in providing experience to their customers. So if you have employees who feel happy, who feel valued, who feel appreciated, it makes them want to continue to work for you, and it makes them want to see your business or your industry grow. And that energy kind of exudes to the customers. So if staff is happy to be there, it transcends to the customers being happy to spend their money there. So for me, if I didn't continue to support a business, it was due to poor customer service, not necessarily due to like a bad product. And not a lot of companies are aware of how the experience ties into the behavior of coming back. And the behavior of coming back leads to increased revenue. So Spike provides that connection to help your business devise the best strategy.
Hi, I see people coming into the chat. Dre, Nas, Michelle, Dion. I saw Dion. All right, so let's get into some more of the heavier stuff. Our next question is, how have you been feeling? Yes, how have you been feeling? Let's not get into how I have been feeling.
I've been feeling lots of different emotions that kind of come in waves. They've been coming in waves. So when this first started and it was like, oh, work from home, I was excited. I was looking forward to it. I was looking forward to like being on the couch. But that was also coupled with anxiety and worry for what not only the state was going through, but also what the US was going through, the world, and also especially Jamaica. That's where I'm from. And it's a small country with not a lot of resources to handle such a huge pandemic. So, and my family is there. So, when the travel ban on Jamaica happened, I was distraught. You know, I was really scared. I was really sad. And I'm sure that resonates with you. And for other people who are, you know, in the US and can't travel to their home country, my entire immediate family is there. So my mother is there, my brothers are there, and that's home.
Yeah.
Mom is there, your sister, you know, cousins, everything. So it's like, if something were to happen, you know, like say my employment was affected, I wouldn't be able to go home. Or if something happened to my family, I wouldn't be able to go there and to help them and to be with them. So that was a lot. That's been weighing heavy, and I'm sure that resonates with a lot of you. Even if it's not going to another country, but even going to another state, not being able to see your family and your friends. So since then, I've kind of adjusted. Part of that is because nothing has happened, knock wood, and so I've kind of adjusted, but the emotional states kind of fluctuate. And that's why I say like emotions kind of come in waves, and your mood will fluctuate, and your level of productivity will fluctuate, like what you want to do, what you feel like doing fluctuates, your motivation. But it's important to recognize what you're feeling, when you feel it, and to move through it. You have to sit with it. You have to recognize the root of it. Are you anxious? Are you nervous? Feeling good today? Like it's a pretty good day where you're able to get stuff done. So that's how I've been feeling.
I can relate because, of course, I am strapped here too. I had the same feelings of being distraught and stuff. You can put your comments and questions because I'm watching the chat. So if you have anything you want to ask, please put it so we can see. Right. So even for me, when they announced that you could go home, like you would have entry of citizens. No, I know I am not stranded, right? But I still called because I want to go home. And they politely told me, this is not for you. But even though I didn't get what I want, I did leave with a good experience. So I'm happy for that. They really handled me with care. But I totally get it. And I was mentioning earlier today on my own page that, for me, working through this pandemic has helped, as in I just try to work. I focus on the things I have to do so my mind doesn't stray. And I know everyone can't do that, and that is understandable. But even for me, like yesterday, I definitely hit a wall. But Shani, the last 2 days, I just run up in a wall. And even today, like I had to make a conscious effort to do some things to lift myself. Even prior to coming on the live, and this is very transparent, my mood was low, like just no energy, just low and hollow. And I have to, pump yourself up. So, I can only imagine persons who have more serious things to face right now. And just like you, like I'm really thankful that my family is okay right now. Everybody is doing well, and that's a big blessing. So, next. Our content is mostly geared toward, trust me, the motivation is even harder to find now. You're so right. And even before this, I've always known that you can't really rely on motivation. You have to rely on discipline. But trust me, both of them hard to find under these circumstances. So I mentioned it in the video that we posted earlier this week about seeing a new spin on things, where some persons are saying that we're not really just working from home, we are actually working through a pandemic. Most of our content is geared toward helping businesses, business leaders in delivering a better customer
for people.
Knowing that you can't really rely on motivation, you have to rely on discipline. But trust me, both of them hard to find under these circumstances. So I mentioned it in the video that we posted earlier this week about seeing a new spin on things, where some persons are saying that we're not really just working from home, we are actually working through a pandemic. Most of our content is geared toward helping businesses, business leaders in delivering a better customer experience internally and externally. But our content has had little gems throughout about things you can do, especially in our stories. So we try to not pretend like nothing is happening.
Right.
So, what is your take on that? That, we're really not just working from home, we're actually working through a pandemic.
I think it's true to recognize that you are working through a pandemic. You're not just home because you want to be home. You're being mandated to be home. You're being told like you need to stay home and you cannot be on the streets. And that is compounded by it's not just the virus, but it's all these other factors. So it's your emotions, it's the news, it's managing your family. Like if you're married with children and now you are home all the time with them, and that's like a whole new thing to navigate. And you still have to, if you're still working, you still have to show value, and in some cases you have to prove that you're still kind of worthy of being employed. Like you have to show productivity even when you really don't feel like doing it. And so I think it's important.
No, go ahead.
I think it's important for companies to understand that this expectation of high productivity needs to be reassessed, right? There needs to be a lot more compassion given to employees, because especially when COVID just started, you had all these companies saying, "Oh, this is our cleaning practices. We've amended our return policies. We've done all this stuff," and they're like, yeah, they're trying to appeal to the customers to ensure that they're still getting business, but they also need to appease their employees, right? So they need to make sure that they're being flexible and fluid with their employees, and understanding that just because you're home doesn't mean that one home is a productive place or a quiet place or a place that they can actually work. So they need to be a little bit more fluid in terms of their expectations and what working with their staff, to find a balance as an employer or a supervisor, to kind of rethink expectations and kind of lead with compassion, empathy, and understanding for people.
Yes, this Shanique is saying we'll all leave the pandemic with a new perspective on going about life. That is true. And Chin has a question. How would you start the conversation with your boss, though? I mean, I'll let you answer that. I just have one comment to make. Like, even for some places of employment, you, as you said, you're trying to still show that you have value, and you're trying to show value in light of everything that is already on your mind: safety, security, financial stability. Meanwhile, your employer is still telling you that there's a possibility that we might lay you off depending on how long this goes for. So you're kind of getting hit all around. We put out some blogs, a few blogs on the topic. So I think if you are an employee or an employer, the blogs really give some tips about things that you need to be considering. Sometimes it's just having a conversation. Unfortunately, you may have to initiate the conversation with your boss, depending on who your boss is. But we need to offer a space for employees to voice their concerns. Like, this is what's happening. You might not have a ready solution, but give people an outlet. Let them talk. When you hear things, you have new ideas, and you never know what you can actually address. But pretending that nothing is happening is doing you more harm than good. Because when we come out on the other side of this, I'm sure we will all still want to have the best employees we can. So we have to make some investments now. Your comments.
To the question about how to have that conversation with your boss, I don't know what it's like for you, but here, I can see my boss from like 6 feet away, but if and do like a Zoom call or like a video call, or maybe initiate it by sending an email saying, "Hey, given what's happening in the world, like I'd really like to talk to you about my state of employment in terms of what the expectations are, and if those can be if those are malleable habits, especially given what's going on. And if you can think of ways to facilitate that, like I think it's always important and necessary to kind of give a couple suggestions. Like if normally you're expected to be 9 to 5, like on the computer, just say, can we change hours a little bit? Can I start later in the morning and go a little later at night after my children, or things like that. Come up with suggestions for that, because it's always good when you recognize a problem and then give your employer like solutions too, or like just ideas of how to fix it, so they also feel like, okay, you've thought through this, like this is something that I can work with you on. Because if you into it like I'm not doing anything, that's not hurt.
I totally agree, because there is some responsibility on the employee, and unfortunately we don't all have the greatest bosses all the time, so it's our responsibility to manage up as well, and in so doing you're showing yourself worthy. Remember, guys, you can submit your questions and comments, because we are reading them and we are here to engage them as well. All right, this is the big one. Can you offer us any strategies we should consider in taking care of ourselves through this time?
Yes.
I was singing this morning.
For the soul. Like everyone has like their thing that when they're stressed they do, and so it's important to know what that is. If you don't know what that is, now is the time to kind of figure that out, right? So of course you want to assess what you're feeling. Right now there's like a sense of kind of hopelessness, like, is there going to be a vaccine? When is this going to end? People are dying, things like that. We're being told to stay home. That, in itself makes people feel anxious and sad, but it can also make people feel empowered, like, okay, stay home. I can work on this from home. And there are people who are thinking of creative ways to make donations to essential workers and things like that. So really assess where you are and what you're feeling. Write it down, identify where it's coming from, and break it down so you can connect the thoughts to the behavior. So I'm feeling like this because I heard this on the news, and this makes me feel this way, so I'm not going to engage in this right now. Journaling is good. Every day, you don't have to write like a whole essay about the day and what you were feeling. Write like, I feel this way, and what your day was like, and then you can say like, this is how I want to feel, and like, what makes me feel like this. So what is it that makes me feel happy? Is that music? Is that coming up with a new post for my page? Is that
Yeah.
not like, what is it that makes me happy? How can I do that in this space? You also need to make sure that you're connecting with your support system. So talk to your family, talk to your friends, video call if you can. Right now I'm kind of spent with the video calls. But if you
Zoom.
it's a lot. But if you can just text people, give them a call, just make sure you're maintaining social connections, because in just maintaining that, you are letting them know that you're okay, you're alive, you're thriving. Maybe not thriving, but
You're alive. Basic. That's a goal.
and you can hear from them, so you know that they're okay too. Yes, Miriam. Jeez, I'm zoomed out.
We had a few comments. Shanique was saying she sleeps. Always. Aisha said she discovered new self-care strategies during this pandemic. And she was asked, Lash Me Out was asking if we have any advice or resources for individuals who got furloughed. My thing is that I think I am not a professional. We will let Brittany answer. But my immediate thought is to find whatever it is you can find in your situation to be grateful for. So if you are furloughed, that's better than you are laid off.
True.
Yes, it's not the most pleasant thing, but see, all doors aren't completely closed, you know? All doors aren't completely closed. And I think the advice that Brittany gave just now really applies to that person as well. And I've noticed, you know, a lot of people now are tapping into their knowledge, their talents, and trying to see how they can monetize that, which, I mean, it may not work out for everyone, but I think it is good that we are actively engaging ourselves and see we have some time to see what is important to us, what we like, what we love. So like finding the opportunity in the middle of the crisis.
That's true. You know, now is the time, and I'm sure you've seen it on social media, to find what works, you know, like what your interests are. I've been trained in this stuff for years, and I've thought of a blog for years and just never had the time. Lexi for months has been like, so you started this yet? Did you do? I don't have that excuse. You know, now's the time to really hone in on your passions and things that you really want to do and things that you just want to try. Even if you've never, if you know, see what you have around the house. If you've never painted it before, you never know what you can come up with. You follow a tutorial and you realize like your talents, and you just kind of capitalize on that. You know what I mean? It's tough. It's tough to not have income and not have that financial stability at this moment. But also, there are a lot of companies are saying, if you're affected, let me help you. Like, let's see what we can do. So reach out to, you know, if you pay a credit card, reach out to your car company, whatever it is, and just see what the options are and explain your situation, and absolutely provide documentation if they need, kind of see what breaks you can get, and then kind of take it from there. I think if you sit in this kind of, geez, like this is all really bad, it's going to affect you negatively. But if you can come up with different ways to kind of help yourself and just reach out to people and companies to see what they can do, like you never know. Like nothing ventured, nothing gained. So if you don't ask, like of course they're gonna expect to know.
Yes, that is so true. That is true. We have to just try the things that we can. Shanique is saying if she hear another Zoom meeting, she scream. The only thing I want to do on Zoom is play boy girl animal place and thing. I told Brittany that a few days ago. That's where my brain is right now.
And the one last thing though, if you in terms of strategies, if you can schedule a therapy session, if you have a therapist, and just contact them and see if you can do like a video session with them. My therapist is in Jamaica, and I should go more often, but but you know, like that's on an as needed basis, but make sure that you are doing that and you're scheduling time to kind of unload on somebody objective. Like that's what they're trying to do. So just utilize them. And clinically diagnosed anything, depression, anxiety, anything, or you have a medical condition, make sure that you take your coping and your adaptive strategies and modify them like as you need to, because this is a whole kind of situation that you weren't prepared for. So just make sure that you're checking in with your therapist and getting the help and even medication if you need it.
Okay. Oh, I am not really great at the counseling thing either. Like I've been to counseling a few times, but I guess sometimes I don't really know what I want to say, and I just get stuck in silence until something breaks. That's not great either, but maybe there are other people like me. Lash me out. Me zoomed out, counting down till semester end. Kareem is asking, what do you do if your team isn't performing and not taking any initiative to adjust to the times?
I think it's important to check in with your team to whether that's one-on-one or having like a virtual meeting, to just say, hey, like, I notice this isn't working for you. Is there something that I can do to help? Because that is like recognizing that thing is that you want to help them fix the problem, that you're kind of open to it. So I would say to reach out if you recognize that, you know, the person or persons who normally are pretty good or on top of things are really slacking, because sometimes people just don't know how to reach out or are afraid to, or don't want to make it seem as if they're not doing what they're supposed to, even though it's trying to work on top of it. So I would say to reach out to them, to just see like if they're okay, if they're struggling with something, and then kind of take it from.
Yeah, Kareem is not reading the blog. Kareem needs to go and read the blog. But yeah, that is true. And also we have to adjust our expectation, because it's just weird times right now. So as much as some of us are still able to press and push and produce, everybody is not built that way, and we have to appreciate that right now and talk to them, see exactly what's going on with them. I'm curious to see if we have any more questions from our viewers. I'm not seeing any questions right now. We always ask a flyaway question. So our notorious flyaway question is, can you think of an industry where the customer experience is irrelevant? Last time Anake said government, and our viewers did not agree. They just said they are manipulative.
They can be, because they have a lot of power, right? So their agenda any way that they can. But they need to understand that governments have been overthrown, you know.
That's true. That's true. Kareem say Shanique is offering you a solution as well. Shanique is a team member here, okay? I want everyone to know that. Do not try to interfere with Shanique.
I think everywhere. It's in education, it's in social media. If you are providing a service of any kind, good customer service, like you just have to cater to the people that you want to follow you, buy from you, support you. So
yes, and I want everybody to realize too that in this time, you can see more than ever, like the wider range of the customer experience, because it's not only about the people who come and buy from you. It is about your employees. It is about the culture there. It's about the processes you have, and a lot of us are shifting processes. A lot of us have to find new avenues to do things, and all of those things will affect your experience. So you can't just think about, oh, let me get this software and plug it in right here and do it. You have to think about the people who are going to use it from inside your organization and outside your organization. So we have to really be cognizant of the human element in everything that we're doing, because as much as we are away from each other physically, everything that we are doing is still impacting each other quite visibly. So we have to make sure of that. So I got a few ideas from Brittany tonight. I'm going to go and write in my book, although I write in my book today already, but maybe I have more things to say. So I'll give us a little bit more time if anyone has any other questions they would like to ask. But thank you, Brittany, for accepting my invitation this evening. It was really helpful, and I'm sure it was helpful for those of us who tuned in. You can invite people to watch the replay of the live or share it with your friends, Oh, and I should let you guys know that we have a YouTube channel, so all the lives and everything are there. So if you miss something, you can catch it over there whenever you have time to catch it.
I'm glad I did my face. And
oh boy. Okay, thank you guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks, Brittany.
thank you for the invite. Thank you all for tuning in. If you have any questions about mental health or anything like that, you can contact me. I have a wellness page and a blog that's going to be going live within the next couple of days. It's at Rose Gold and Gray, so you can check that out. Yeah, there's. I have lots of info to share.
I was the first follower, so I am taking all props for that. Rashan is asking if we have any advice moving into a more digital space, how to continue giving or improve on the customer experience. Rashan not reading the blog either, you know. We're gonna have to send Rashan a direct link to all the information that he needs. But I'm just playing. Yes, I mean, in person and digital have things in common, but they definitely have things that are very separate. For example, even just people's expectations differ when it comes to in person and their digital experience. So if you are going to be doing things over the internet, you have to be conscious of the time that it is taking you to deliver. You have to be conscious of what of the number of steps that you are requiring them to take in the journey. It is a journey, even though we don't most people don't think about it in that way. But you need to chart out what their journey is. You need to think about where the roadblocks are. You need to think about the language that they are going to experience when they try to get in touch with you. You need to think about the fact that no more than ever you have to find a way to create a human connection without actually being in front of the person. So if there is no human on your business profile anywhere, you need to do something about that. And I would encourage everyone here, if you are making the shift now from your in-person experience to digital, you need to take the webinar that we have about customer service through social media, and it incorporates websites as well. But as I said before, you need to join the mailing list, because there is going to, let me pin this. There is going to be, how do I do this? There is going to be a surprise in there soon for anyone who is interested in taking the class. I don't know how to pin it, Rashan.
Lash Me Out has a question. How hard is it staying in contact with the students in your residence halls, and share some strategies? So for us at my institution, majority of the students are gone, and the few students that we have left are international students or students that have not so great circumstances in terms of what home would be, so we continue to house them. We do email them, with any updates and things like that. For me, when it comes to my resident assistants, like the students that I specifically supervise, they all have my number. We have done like a Zoom staff meeting. They know that they can check in, text me, and call whenever they need to. And I've checked in with quite a few of them one-on-one. Right now, I think if you, there's nothing wrong with reaching out. If you have emails, just reach out to them and say, hey, I know things are rough. How can I support you? How can I help you? Is there anything that you... And remind them of the resources that, that they could probably utilize in a digital way. And contact with. So I think, yeah, as just reaching out, you know, you might get some responses, you might not. And I think college students now, a lot of them at first were like, oh, great, like I can do this from home. But now I think, especially for seniors, they're kind of battling with, they're not going to be celebrated the same way because, you know, like graduations are canceled. You know, like certain things they were looking forward to, like navigating the social experience has changed. So they are struggling with it. So if you are students and you have your go-to person, your advisor, your RD, even your RA, anyone that you know and trust, like reach out to them if you need it. And if you are an administrator, it's about reach out to.
Yes, that's true, and kind of the same is true with regards to employees. Like, no, if it would be good that you knew your team because you will know the personalities that are involved. Because there are some people right now who are absolutely losing their minds on the team because they're inside. They want to see people. They want to hug people. They want to touch people. They're inside. Whereas there are others who are totally fine. So, really knowing or getting to know your employees is really important. No, so if you didn't know them before, take the time to do that now because people will appreciate it. So that's something to keep in mind. Tiana said the webinar is the best. She learned so much. So everybody go take it. Yeah, we really try to keep it small because we want persons to be able to ask their questions, ask specific questions, and be more willing and open to share stuff. So it's a small group each time. On the mental health side, what is your advice on keeping our kids sane?
It varies for the age of, you know, the children. I think for younger children, you know, like they don't understand why they're home. You know, like a lot of them are like, they associate home with nights and weekends, you know, after school and, you know, on the weekends, Saturday and Sunday. They're not used to every day being home. And I think, but on some level, they do, if you sit and explain to them like what is going on, they will understand it. They might still ask you questions about what's going on. But if you just understand, if you just explain to them in very simple terms, the world is going through something right now. We have to stay home to keep ourselves safe and sane. And I think it's important to find activities for them to do at home. If you have, you know, I think if you just go on YouTube or go on Google and find like activities for like your age group, you know, the children that you have, you'd be surprised at how many can do at home. You can also just kind of incorporate them into things that you're doing. Like if you're making breakfast, have them help you. You know, if you're making dinner, have them help you. That way, you know, they're still being engaged in some way. They're connecting with you. For your teenagers, your college age students, it's important to really sit with them one-on-one and just kind of talk to them about how they're feeling because they're at that age where they had an idea of what their social experience was supposed to be like. You know, right when we were closing, I had one student that was like, I just told this boy that I liked him, we were going to date, and now we can't date. You know, like, you know, and that in that moment, that was a big thing for her because she came out of her shell. She was like, this is, you know, I'm going to talk to this person. And then, you know, it kind of fell apart. And, you know, as simple as it may seem, to them, navigating their social experience is one of the biggest challenges that they have. So the fact that it has changed so much that they cannot physically connect to someone, even though, like, you know, you always say, like, oh, kids today, they're always on their phone, they're always on this and that. It's important that they, that you talk to them about how they're now navigating this. Miriam, keep the kids on a schedule that includes breaks outside, virtual play dates. Thank you, Miriam. That's a great tip. Yeah, if you just like look at resources online, you'll be surprised to find all kinds of things that you can do. You need to create structure and a schedule for your younger kids at home, especially if you have students on the spectrum. Routine works for them, so now their whole routine is going to be different. So you need to react to being at home and to a new schedule.
And Kareem is asking, what about the parents? The parents too that now have to dedicate time homeschooling. I guess the same thing kind of applies. You can go ahead.
It's tough for parents now to like have all this time with children, and trying to figure out like what it is that they need now. But again, like utilize whatever resources you have. The teachers that you had before, reach out to them to see like, okay, like what should my child be learning now? How can I do this at home? And then also like incorporate time for yourself to take a mental break, because dealing with children, I don't have any, and I know. That is a lot. It's a lot to deal with raising children and now having to transform your work life and home life to create like a balance. Like you have to figure out what works for you and work with your partner to create what that looks like. Talk about like your work schedules and which hours you need to work on your stuff and your work stuff, and who's going to look after the child, and be teaching them during those hours and things like that. You really have to work on building your partnership and your foundation to work when you're all together.
I mean, and then you have people like me. I don't have children, or I don't have that, but I mean, we still have our own, I guess, struggles, because you're just by yourself. So I mean, on both sides of the fence, you have some issues. But I think, and this is my untrained thought, I just think that we need to adjust our expectations. Just remind ourselves that these are not normal times. This is not normal. I don't like it, but this is what I have to do. And kind of let that sink into your brain so you won't feel so annoyed sometimes, I guess. And one of the things that happened to me is like I am very strict sometimes, and it can come off as though I'm being harsh. But I'm not trying to be harsh in this situation. I am trying to make sure that my family members are protected. My family is very giving and welcoming and always want to help and stuff. And I'm like, yes, I like to help too, but no, it's not the time to be helping people, putting yourself at risk. If they need help, no, these are the requirements. And I mean, some things that we would normally do, we just can't. And we just have to do what the responsible thing now, until we can be as generous and everything as we would before. It seems like Tiana and Rashawn need special counsel. They need special help. So we have about 12 minutes to go. I mean, 12 minutes of Instagram's time. So if we don't have any more questions, we can call it a night. And I am really thankful for all of you joining. I hope you keep up with us, because we always have things going on over here. So follow us at GetTheSpike and follow Brittany's page, Rose Gold and Grey, so we can all take care of ourselves and get some wellness tips as we ride this wave out.
Indeed.
All right.
You're welcome.
Have a good night, everybody. Stay safe.
Bye.
Bye.